So we are now live, so no swearing, no naughty words.
Whoa, hey now.
I don't know who I'm warning there, because we're all utter, nice people.
Man, feeling pretty censored right now. I don't know how I feel about this.
You're not one for restrictions, man. You like to hang free, I know.
That's right. That's right.
So, once again, welcome along. We're just getting ourselves nicely settled. We are a little bit late by a couple of minutes, but hopefully this means that you can kind of spread the word and let everyone know that we're going to be on air in about 4 minutes 27 seconds. You are looking at the 5-minute countdown that we prepared a couple weeks back. I actually have been asking for new pictures. Please do send them in to pics@englishmaninsandiego.com, although I didn't receive any this week, so I'm going to have to either check my email account and see if there's been a small hiccup there, or everyone's really happy with the pictures that we've got. I mean, I personally think these are okay. I mean, a couple there of Michael Leventhal, Alyssa meeting Frank Miller, of course, which is always a pleasure. But yes, if you do have any pictures that you want to send in, like I said on a Twitter that I sent out the other day, doesn't have to be San Diego. It can be New York, it can be WonderCon, it can be Wizard World, it can be New York Comic Con, it can be any kind of convention, anywhere where we all gather together and we celebrate who we are. So yeah, do take your pictures, have a look through. I guarantee you've got folders of them. Do send them in to pics@englishmaninsandiego.com. We would love to see them. That's a very strange picture, and it's very. You have to squint to see that Stan Lee's in there, but he is. I like that picture though.
In reverse.
Yeah. Yes, I know that that one of Stanley Kamikaze was sent in by Jason Coe. I know that he won't be watching today because he's at Universal, and I would like to qualify the tweet that I sent out that I would much prefer to be doing that than doing the Hangout. Yes, I would. I would really like to be in Universal right now. I don't know what the weather's like in the US at the moment, but we got hit by the snow yesterday. It is very cold. So I would much prefer to be at Universal Studios right now.
Oh, speaking about that, I got my Universal Studios Singapore.
Yay!
There we go. And the front side says, there we go.
Oh, what's it say? Sorry, we wouldn't have seen that because we got the countdown. What's it say?
What the frack?
Ah.
Nice.
So yes, we're going to go live outside of the countdown in about minute 45. So please do spread the word. And yes, hopefully you've got your cup of tea ready. I do. It's behind me at the moment, but yeah. Going very cold very quickly. My wife has been converting me to green tea.
Oh, nice.
I was just about to say we will bring this up during the Hangout, whether this is a good thing, Jeff.
I think it is.
Okay. Oh, we've lost Kevin. Oh, there he is. I think Kevin's having a bit of a play. With the,
I'm playing on my couple things. Don't worry about it.
If it doesn't work, it's okay. We'll muddle through. Yes, I like that picture from Graham Small. Why can't real life be more like Comic-Con? Absolutely.
Amen.
Crushing, humiliating, demoralizing, standing in lines. Why can't real life be more like Comic-Con?
Wallet crippling.
Sleep depriving.
Well.
Yes, remind me why we do this again. Well, we're going to have an hour to work out that. Okay. And that is the 5-minute countdown. Once again, please, if you do have any pictures that you want to send in, we would love to see them, to put them on the 5-minute countdown. I'm going to re-render a whole new one next week. I want to try and do a new countdown every week. So please do send your pictures in to pics@anenglishman in San Diego. Yes, which is this. Welcome to Talking Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana. I am the Englishman in San Diego, as it were. I'm not in San Diego. I'm currently in Yorkshire in England, and looking forward to getting back on the West Coast in July, because the snow hit us rather hard over the last 24 hours. I'm bitterly cold, and I'm really looking forward to some West Coast weather. So hopefully wherever you are, hopefully you're wrapped up warm, and indeed, thank you very much indeed for joining us. This is where we're going to be talking about con culture. We're going to be talking about San Diego Comic-Con, kind of, not specifically, but that's going to be in there, but generally con culture, and what you can also do to prepare for the upcoming con season. That's where I now introduce my guests. We have ourselves 3 fantastic people joining us. We've got Alyssa Franks from the Friends of CC Forum, who has finally overcome her technical issues of last week. Although we did quite like the roving report of your home last Sunday. That was fun.
You got to see my massive DVD collection beside my bed for my late night insomnia attacks.
Yes, that was very kind of roving report. I enjoyed it because we got to see, just the kind of nice, relaxed Alyssa. It was great. How relaxed are you? I mean, what's been on the forum this week?
Well, I actually was able to do a bunch of modifications and some upgrades to some features that I've been wanting to do for a while on the forum. I got that done last night, and I don't think I've broken anything. It still seems to be operating. You know, I'm not getting the frantic messages, so I'm cool. One thing I did notice that Stan Lee was on, they had an interview with Stan Lee on CBS Sunday Morning today. If you get a chance to catch it, I actually found out something new about Stan Lee, which probably everybody else knew, but apparently he sued Marvel in 2002 for some undisclosed, and received some undisclosed amount of money for the creation of all of his characters, and he does not receive any royalties. So I had missed that. I don't know.
I mean, there's a couple of things I'd like to investigate about Stan Lee, because he comes across as Captain Jovial Comic Boy. Does seem to spend an awful lot of time in the law courts. He's a little bit more mercenary than that jolly old 93-year-old smiley happy granddad of comics.
Absolutely. So
litigation
that's
is part of the Hollywood business. As David Borean,
yes. Yes, we'll skip over him. He knows how to get himself into trouble. Which also brings us on to another guest we've got joining us. Hello, Kevin Walburn from the Friends of CC Forum. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to you for a while. You haven't been on. How's your festive season been then? How's your new year looking?
It's a very good festive season. Spent it in the gym and also eating, so kind of putting on, taking off. Sending out tweets of me in the gym on Christmas morning, Christmas Eve, New Year's Day, and New Year's Eve. So it's a lot of fun. Everything's good. Looking forward to counting down to San Diego. I'm going to start my regimen very shortly. I think maybe this week or next week start my long-term plans for exercising.
Which leads us very nicely on to our third and final guest, Mr. Jeff Mueller. The Mighty Jed, how are you, Jeff?
Doing good, man. Hello, Internet. It's been a while. I haven't seen you guys in a long time.
What's been on your docket since we spoke to you last?
Yeah, just surviving the holidays, same thing as Kevin, trying to fuel my workouts with a lot of holiday food. That's the way I like to look at it. I'm fueling my workouts with all the stuff I've been eating. But yeah, no, life is good. I'm looking forward to convention season. It feels so close and yet so far away at the same time. It's kind of weird, but yeah, life is good, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, not a problem at all. I mean, the last time that I saw you, which was, I'm certain, really rewarding for yourself, was at our panel at San Diego Comic-Con with myself and Alyssa up on the stage. But then we had our moderator and indeed the person who put the panel together. He turned around and said, "Oh, I see down there in the audience Jeff Mueller, the mighty Jerd. Does everyone know Jeff?" And everyone in the room just went, "We know Jeff. We know him well."
Yay, con moments.
So that was fun. So excellent stuff. Basically, what we are going to be talking about specifically on this hangout is preparing for your con season. What we want to talk about is so it's something that I know that Alyssa is very interested in talking about, because we have talked backwards and forwards between the pair of us about how we can get into some kind of decent state for doing a modern comic convention, because it's spread out over such a large space. You're putting in so much footfall, and you can feel particularly broken if you're not prepared for it, not only physically but mentally as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What I'd also like to ask and kind of kickstart off the conversation is something that I particularly do or don't do, as it were. I don't do gyms. I really struggle with kind of getting into any kind of exercise program, as it were. I'll start with Jeff, I suppose.
Sure.
Is that important? I mean, do you need to go to a gym to get ready for a convention?
Okay, to get ready for a convention, I don't think so. But I'm going to preface that by saying that it depends on your willpower and motivation. Some people cannot motivate themselves to do the work necessary at home. They have to have that kind of trigger. I get in my car, I put on my gym clothes, I go to the gym, and that's what makes me work out. If you have the motivation to work out at home, go for it.
If I could instantly transport myself to the gym, I'd do it. It's all that palaver of
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I cannot go to a gym. I hate gyms. With a passion, unless I'm there, like, taking karate or doing a specific activity. But what triggered it for me was getting a treadmill, and I put that in my living room, and I watch the TV shows. That's
sure. Yeah.
So I think it is finding something, and Jeff can speak to this better than I can, but some way that you'll do it every day. Just something was the key for me. And I just walk.
Walking's good. Walking's
great.
I'm a self-professed gym rat, so pretty much for me, I'm in the gym. I try to go to the gym as much as I can. I got a 24-hour gym that's literally the next town over. So yes, the excitement there, but I've been there at let's say midnight, 6 o'clock in the morning. One time I was in there 1 o'clock in the morning. It was crazy, but I'll go to the gym, even if it's for a quick half hour, doing some abs, doing something. I try to make sure I go to the gym at least 3 to 4 times a week if I can. On off weeks, if I'm just doing cardio, sometimes twice a week on weekends. If I can squeeze out a quick 45 minutes to run in there just to get the body going. And gym memberships could be expensive. It depends on where you decide to go to gyms. Sometimes they're great specials. This time of year, they're great specials. Folks are not throwing out those initiation fees and all the other, I would say, high overhead costs to join gyms. You can even go in there and try to get a trial workout just to get a feel of the gym before you go there, which is pretty good, especially at this point in the season. And take advantage of it if you can. Worst case, if you don't go to the gym, walking is a great exercise. Going out and biking, walking around a park. If you're working in an office, you go out for lunch after you eat. Walk for a half hour outside. Walk a couple of blocks. Walk down the street. If you're in a parking lot for when you're going to For me, I commute by train. So basically, park far, walk to the train, walk up the escalator. Instead of going up the escalators, walk upstairs. Little things can help get you into exercise, into con mode. I forgot who mentioned it, but someone mentioned in one of the podcasts or what have you, literally during a con, you can walk the equivalent of a marathon. So you walk in 20 some odd miles over the period of 4 days. That puts a lot on your body. And I work out a great deal. After my first con, I was shattered for a good 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks before I could get back to the gym. So what I did was immediately the year afterwards, I planned a little bit differently. So I said, you know what, let me do 6 weeks before the con. I changed up my workout routine, which I did a little bit more cardio and did a little bit more calisthenics, pull-ups, dips, those type of exercises in the gym, which is just natural stuff you can do, get your body in shape all around exercises.
Well, I mean, I personally would assume that it is a good idea to do little things, but often. Is that a good thing to suggest, Jeff?
I think so. I think for a lot of people, and I hate to generalize, but a lot of people attending cons who look at it 6 months out and go, oh my God, I need to do something. I'm out of shape. I'm going to be shattered by all this walking and carrying all this heavy stuff around. Probably are not doing anything physical. So just doing small things for a period of 6 months will accumulate and just get your body used to the rigors of moving around constantly. If you are an avid comic book reader, video game player, you work a desk job, you're sitting all the time. And your body just isn't used to doing all that walking with a backpack over your shoulder and a bag in your hand, and you're looking around left and right, and your neck's whipping. Oh, there's a cosplayer over there. Oh my God, there's Stan Lee, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you're not used to that. So just doing anything is a step in the right direction. Walking, like Alyssa said, is great. You know, I hate running. I would rather someone hold me down and pour hot pepper sauce on my eyes than have to run anywhere. Like I think I would just let a bear kill me. Like there's no reason to run ever because I own a car. But walking is great, you know. Little things like that. You're not running at a con. You're walking. So getting your hips used to it, your knees used to it, your ankles used to it, your calf muscles, you know, used to the constant just impact all day long. That's important stuff, and it really does add up. You know, like I said, it's all dependent on your goals. Like if your goal is only getting ready for con season, yeah, little stuff I think is a great place to start. I mean, you're not going to get shredded. You're not going to be able to, you know, if you've never worked out in your life, you're not going to be able to rip off your shirt and do your Prince Namor cosplay, you know, with your rippling abs if all you're doing is walking every other day between now and con season. So it really is dependent on your goals. But yeah.
Okay, well, when it comes to getting ready for con season then, I mean, when you talk about, say, Kevin mentioned just going for a walk on your lunch hour, how long do you think, or how long does it take to kind of make an impact when you're doing that? Is it 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes? Do you need to do an hour of walking? What's the kind of, I don't want to say what's the minimum. Okay, this is making me sound crazy.
I'm pretty sure that's what you're saying.
You know what, Leonard? Let me just say this. You don't have to have a minimum, but let's just say, I would say I was a gym rat for over 20 years. Okay, let me just age myself for a few minutes. I start off with a log, basically a simple notebook that keeps track of certain things I was doing. If I'm going to do exercise, 30 minutes. You set, and basically that's pretty much your goal setting. You say, okay, look, I hate Stairmaster. Okay, I'll be totally honest with you. I hate Stairmaster. If I can set aside 10 minutes to do Stairmaster once a week, and then basically next week I'll say, okay, I did 10 minutes. Let me do 10 minutes twice a week. Then the third week, okay, 10 minutes 3 times a week. You start off with little increments, and then basically you start building up your goals, and you look back and say, okay, I started 3 months before the con, and I couldn't do this, but now I can accomplish this. Yes, you're not going to have the best abs out there, but you at least are going to be at least cardiovascularly set or prepared for the onslaught that is called con.
I have an interesting perspective because I literally just started walking probably the day after I don't know, 2 or 3 days after Black Friday. So I'm at the very, very beginning of it all. And how I started was saying I'm going to do a half an hour of walking or some activity, whatever I choose to do. I could be ice skating, I could go for a hike, or or anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Just something that where I'm moving for a half an hour every day when I'm not working a full, 9 or 10 hour day. And on the treadmill, I started off wicked slow, but it's only a half an hour. So I keep pushing myself with doing the inclines, and at first I could barely do a mile in a half an hour, and now I'm up to a mile and a half in a half an hour at a 3 or a 4% incline. I don't know. So it's. But for me, it was like every day. I got to do something every day, and that way I don't get like sunk into the couch. So it's a little bit different perspective.
I'm not gonna lie.
You're sunk into.
I am working on the initial steps. I mean, the one thing that I've been doing pretty much for the last couple of years is cutting out the fast food and the junk. Pretty much using like New Year's Day as the jumping off point, and then just that's it. Now it's time to certainly look at diet and the changing of that, because obviously Christmas and New Year, it doesn't help at all. That is it's one of the tough points. But I think where I've also been looking at is just kind of the little and often, and certainly one thing I'd like to ask Jeff and Kevin is there anything, without thinking of a gym, just the stuff around the house, is there anything that you could recommend as kind of like small exercises that people can do to kind of, I mean, I am not one for doing push-ups, because at 6'4", it's the angles. I can't. It's a lot of weight.
Oh, dear Lord.
I don't know, but
that's the first thing off my list. I was going to say push-ups.
Okay. There you go.
I don't know how to deal with you right now, Leonard. This is depressing me greatly. You're trying to use physics and geometry as a reason not to do push-ups, and that is shenanigan, crazy banana pants talk, and I don't like it one bit.
Okay.
Even I can do push-ups. Okay, you start off on your knees. That's the first thing. You just do, and it helps when you've lost a little bit of weight, because I couldn't do any push-ups a while ago, last year, but I actually was able to do 10 easily, but I had already lost the 30 or 40 pounds,
Nice.
which made it easier. Well, that was from my height. My heaviest. So yeah, and then I just added the exercise into it. The weight loss was through diet modification.
Yeah,
So
good. Around the house, basically, there are certain things you could do even in your chair. You could just sit at the angle at the edge of your chair and just lift your knees up a little bit above your waist. And pretty much, it's called knee ups. Basically, you could do that and kind of bring your knees to your chest and kind of help build up your abs a little bit, build up your core. Push-ups, you can do push-ups, but there are also plank exercises that Jeff could probably do a little bit better demonstration than me right now, because I have no room to do that in this room. But basically, you can do planks.
no demos. No demos. No.
No, listen. If Jeff wants to take the top off and start doing a demo, I'm certain our audience number would rise nicely. Kevin, yeah, you went mute there for a second, Jeff.
I was giving out my PayPal address and I muted myself.
You see, I ascribe to the philosophy that all exercise should be done in private. So that's I don't like people to see me sweat. Yes.
I was actually going to recommend, if anything, worst case, if you have a good friend or whatever it is, that's a good motivating factor. Sometimes better workouts are when you have a workout partner. I have 2 workout partners I work out with, but I also self-motivate myself to go to the gym whenever I can. But I have 2 workout partners, and we push each other. We don't have to, walk out shattered at the end of our workouts, but at least we're there to kind of help drive each other. So I get a phone call from a workout partner, hey, I need some, let's go to the gym. Okay. let's go. We're in there, we're working out, and we try to work each other out a little bit. And it's also, it kind of adds some company into the misery. Sometimes you're in a gym, you're not very happy. That's a good de-stress. You talk with your workout partner, and it helps get you motivated, and you're great to go. Going back to Leonard's point about push-ups, I have another workout partner, my daughter. When I'm doing push-ups at home, she jumps right on my back, so it adds a little bit more weight. So just imagine trying to do your angular geometry to add some more weight around, go 40 pounds on top of that.
Well, this is where you get the con backpack on and do that as well, or find a Yoda. I think, yeah. I mean, Luke knew this. If you're going to learn how to be a Jedi, you get a small green frog on your back, and there you go. That helps.
Well, I mean, everyone has one of those, right?
Doing flips in the forest.
Yes, but mine's called Paul, and he's my brother. But we'll move on.
Speaking of that, towards the end of con, do either of you do any of your walking with backpacks on, with any weight on, just to get in shape? Or are you guys all like okay enough so you don't have to think about that?
As part of my daily routine going to the office, I have a backpack with a whole bunch of books for work, and papers. So it actually is my pack. So every day, pretty much commuting an hour and a half on 2 trains to get into the city, go to Hoboken. It adds a little bit.
I gotta say, I'm just, I'll be that guy. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. Walking around with backpacks and whatnot. So I don't do anything. I don't do anything special leading up to con season. It is what it is, and I'm fine. The only thing that I try and do is make sure I have good shoes. Like, that's really it.
Great
but
point.
Then again, I work out all the time, and I eat right and everything else, so it doesn't affect me as much as it does someone who maybe is not as in shape or not as health conscious and whatnot. So, I mean, my tips for people are, if you're not used to it, especially if your shoulders and backs aren't strong, if you're not doing pull-ups, if you're not doing push-ups, you're not doing dips, you're not doing body weight exercises, at least during your workout, walking around with a backpack with some books in it is probably good, especially if you're one of those people that likes going around and buying a bunch of stuff, because throughout the day, your bag's going to fill up, and it's better, rather than taking the shuttle bus back to your hotel and having to drop stuff off constantly, get the most out of your con experience and just, get a little strength in your back and carry it around with you,
Okay. We've got a couple of comments coming in on the Q&A. As always, do jump in on the Q&A and let us know what you're thinking, and of course what the reactions are to what's been talked about on the Hangout. Of course, you can jump in on the Twitter as well at CupOTSDCC. A couple of comments coming in. This is from Aaron Neighbours. Off the top of my head, a good workout would be walking. Loves walking, and so he's definitely agreeing with our guest. But then lead up to a weighted backpack to simulate the swag you pick up at the con. And this also leads on to another one that he sent, which was, for me, once I can do a consistent month of brisk walking, at least 9 miles a week, averaging around 14 to 15 minutes mile a pace, I know I'm ready for 5 days at Comic-Con. Is that about right, would you say? Jeff?
It's different for everyone, but I think that's an excellent goal. I think that's, I think that pretty much sums it up. I mean, you want to be able to walk pretty quickly, because there's always that time where you look at your watch, you look at your schedule, like, oh, that's right, I've got this panel I want to be at, and it always is on the other side of the convention center or in another location. So brisk walking is one of those things that you got to get used to if you're going to really enjoy your convention. So I think that's great.
Okay, so we've talked about the preparations leading up to a con, and certainly kind of like in the months leading through the con season. What would you recommend, certainly in that when you're at the con, to prepare yourself for the day to come? Is there anything that you do, or any tips that you can provide that you can, so like, be in a good spot and a good place to do a full long day of convention going?
Yeah. So here's what I have to say about this, and this is the one that is always, there's always the grumbling. There's two places people like to complain. Evidently, people like to complain about push-ups. I was not aware that was a thing, but I've learned that today. And people like to complain about eating well. And honestly, when you're at the convention and leading up to it, it's all about your diet. Okay, if you're eating crap, you're going to feel like crap. You're going to oversleep. You're going to get tired during the day. You're going to have sugar crashes, etc. You have to eat right, and the convention is not set up for that. It is set up to sell you super salty vendor chicken fingers and hot dogs and nachos and pretzels and all this stuff. They can jack the prices up that you're going to eat, feel full for an hour, get the carb crash, and want to go back and eat again. So while I know people like to, like, oh, I don't want to think about, what I'm eating. I'm on vacation and all that. Yeah, you are. But if you're walking all that distance and you're waking up early, you're staying up late, chances are you're probably drinking a little bit in the evening too with your friends. What you put in your body is of the utmost importance. Now, I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself. When I'm there, I enjoy the crap out of myself. I'll get a thing of fries one day in the convention center if I'm having a salt craving or something like that. But it's not what I'm just jamming in my face hole all day long. I have a good breakfast at the hotel, have some oatmeal, some protein, some fruit, etc. I bring some stuff in my bag with me. I always have a banana or an apple with me, some trail mix, some raw almonds, things like that I can snack on during the day. And when I go out to dinner, I pick one thing. Whether maybe I'm going to have a dessert that night, or maybe there's this, or maybe I'm going to the strip house and I'm like, oh my God, they've got this awesome truffle mac and cheese, and I want that. But then that's my thing for the day. And for the rest of it, I'm trying to make sure I'm having a good balanced meals of protein and lots of vegetables.
That's the philosophy behind Weight Watchers too.
Yeah,
is that you just that you can eat anything you want as long as you modify and don't overdo it, and don't eat the mac and cheese and the dessert and the the 3 pints of dark beer all in one day, because your system will just rebel. And especially if you're not used to that. Last year at Con, I kept to my diet only because I didn't want to have my system go bad on me. I didn't want to have the stomach discomfort and all. But I didn't keep track of it. You don't have to keep track of it at Con and when you're on vacation and that sort of thing. But for me, and if anybody's looking at weight loss, for me the key was portion control, and that's what Weight Watchers was able to teach me. So I can eat out of my grocery store. I don't have to buy food. I don't have to go on, I'm not going to eat any carbs, because that's never going to happen. I'm always going to have white rice in my diet. I'm always going to eat bread. I'm always going to eat these things, and I will always have ribs, and I will always eat steak. That's me. I'm not
hungry.
a vegetarian. Yes.
Ribs? I want some ribs now.
I know. Once a year, I get this wicked craving once a year for ribs, and I'm about due for my
barbecue. I know. I'm usually there beside you when you're eating.
Those are good. But the point being is that you don't want to. I think what Jeff was saying, and I second it, is that you don't want to upset your system, and you want to just kind of go with what you're used to eating. So the French fries, well, I mean, I should say, if you're used to eating the bad foods, you're making faces, then don't do that. No, you're good with the faces. So jump in.
I would say one thing though is hydration. I think we've all kind of dance around this one, but we definitely need to hydrate. I hydrate a lot during the con, and your body during the con, you go through a lot of calories. So actually, that's the one thing that's kind of appealing is when you see it's salty food, because your body's saying, okay, I need something inside of it. So sometimes you have to try to figure out, okay, what's the right balance. I walk around with some cereal bars inside of my backpack. I have an extra bottle of water or two, and I'm kind of making sure that at least even before the con, I'm drinking around 80 ounces of water a day. So my body is definitely hydrated. You feel a lot better when you drink water. And it's also a natural thing for your body to have a lot of water. Folks don't drink enough water, so that's what I always say in preparation for anyone going through, I would say, trying to get a little bit more on the healthy side. drink some water. Drink a lot of it. And kind of just monitor what you're doing in terms of water. And also, if you're drinking coffee, you have to. It is not a suitable replacement for water. I drink a lot of coffee, so I drink a lot of water too. So it doesn't mean, hey, I drink a cup of coffee. Does that mean it's a cup of water? No. You have to drink some water. And during a con, you will dry out. You might get dehydrated. So the one thing is walk with some extra bottles of water.
Well, I mean, one thing that I know that I've often recommended on, say, when we've talked about things that are essential to go into our con backpack is something that I pick up when I do arrive in the US, often because I don't want to pack them, and they're cheap enough to buy in the city where I'm visiting. The filter bottles. So at least then you can go to the restroom, just fill up, and you've got water to hand wherever you go, instead of just constantly going out and buying bottled water in stores. At least you've got the filter bottle. You just fill it up at the tap, and you're good to go. I think that's one recommendation that
It's great,
because I certainly agree that hydration is very important. Just very quickly to go back to the preparation for the day. Do you think that any kind of exercise first thing is important, or is your body going to be getting that throughout the day anyway?
No,
I stretch in the morning before I leave my hotel room, and before I go to bed, I try to elevate my feet at the end of the day, at least at a good 45-degree angle, get all the blood that's pretty much pulled up at my legs back into my body.
Good tip.
That's the one thing it helps you out, also recuperate, because I think some folks might feel a little bit swelling in their ankles, their feet might hurt a little bit, and kind of taking that gravity off for a few minutes at the end of the day. If you set aside maybe 15, 20 minutes doing that, I think you might feel better the next day.
Fantastic. Great tip.
Yep. Stretching is where I would say.
You were about to say something, Jeff, in terms of the exercise, or I think Kevin then jumped in with the stretching. You were nodding very much.
Yes. Stretching is what I was going to say too. I stretch the night before I go to bed because my calves will get really tight after a lot of walking. They don't hurt, but they get just really super tense. So I spend 10 minutes, stretching in the evening while I'm unwinding and whatnot before I go to bed, and that seems to really help. But yeah, other than that, I mean, there's no reason, in my opinion, unless you're an athlete who's preparing for some sort of competition, and Comic-Con just happens to fall during your prep time where you have to keep up on things. You don't have to do anything. If you've done your prep work leading up, enjoy your vacation. I enjoy going to the gym. So I like hitting the hotel gym in the morning. It wakes me up. It makes me feel invigorated. Plus, you get some really cool celebrity, meetings that because let me tell you something. You have never seen an emptier gym than a Comic-Con. So it's going to be an empty room. So you get to meet and talk to some cool people if you do your 8 a.m. Gym workout at the Hilton or whatnot. But you don't need to do it. I live by a series of 80-20 rules. All right, 80% of the time I'm on track with my fitness. 20% of the time I'm not. So 4 days during the year is well within my 20% range of just not doing anything and enjoying myself. Same thing when it comes to getting in shape when you're getting ready for con. Going back to what Alyssa was saying, I personally believe that 80% of the work is in the diet, 20% is in the gym. I think that when you're looking at your diet, if 80% of the time you're eating clean, healthy foods, 20% of the time you can enjoy your ribs, you can enjoy your mac and cheeses, you can have, someone in the comments was talking about Mrs. Fields cookies, whatever you like, whatever is your kryptonite, like for me it's donuts. I love me some donuts, but it's a treat. It's not a regular part of my existence. And if you can make that shift to where you're not eating vegetables 20% of the time, because 80% of the time you're driving through an Arby's drive-through. If you can make that shift, you're doing fine, and you will make progress over time, even with the simple things like Kevin and I were talking about just walking every day, or Aaron in the comments was talking about his regimen for getting ready for con. Those little things, all that will accumulate over time. But here's the thing. You can't wait until a month before con and go, I'm going to turn it around now. You know, you're not. You know, sorry. It's not going to happen. So I'm glad we're having this conversation now, before con.
Well, that was going to be my next question then. We're 26 weeks out. Let me see if I just got that date right. 26, 3 days, 26 weeks. If someone obviously is still kind of like a little bit lethargic after the new year and they're starting, hopefully this is going to be a program which will help them kind of kickstart that off leading up to July. What would be, say, week 1, a good start, a couple of exercises just for people to do week 1? Where would you suggest people start?
I'm going to jump in and just say, just start walking. Just walk 30 minutes a day.
Yep.
And just at 30 minutes a day, give yourself 2 days off a week, but 5 days a week, just walk 30 minutes a day. Just do it.
Yep.
You're looking at me, Leonard, but I'm saying
I'm looking at the guys who are nodding and going, yep.
Yeah, that's a great start. That's a great start. And if you can't walk 30, here's the other thing. Some people look at numbers and they see them as daunting. Some people might look at walking 10 minutes a day. Oh my God, I can't do that. And some people might look at that as nothing and go, running a 5K every other day is too much. It all depends on where you start. But wherever it is, don't think you have to do everything at one time. So 30 minutes, I think, is a good starting point. But for someone who just doesn't do anything, and maybe their knees hurt or their ankles hurt or they're strapped to their desk all the time or whatever. Leonard, I see you raising your hand, man. All right, whatever it is, and you split it up and you do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at your lunch break, and 10 minutes after you get off work. Boom, there's your 30 minutes. Okay, If you're just starting out, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to demoralize yourself, but you also don't want to make excuses to where you say, I can't do that, so I'm not going to do anything. Sure. It's a subtle balance. But yeah, don't be afraid to kind of break things up. Like for instance, walking is good. I'm a proponent of body weight exercises. I have some really basic fitness stuff. Cheap plug here on thejerd.com. For basic at-home fitness workouts, and they involve body weight squats, body weight lunges, push-ups, and chair dips. Simple things you could do at home. And I start off by saying, do 10 of each. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do them 10 at a time. It could be 2 push-ups 5 times throughout the day. That's fine. It all depends on where you're starting. You want to challenge yourself just enough to where it's difficult, but it's not overwhelming. And over time, like Alyssa said with her walking, and slowly increasing the incline on the treadmill. And then after a little bit of time, she's looking at it going, oh, now I'm doing an extra half mile at a higher incline, and I'm doing it faster than I was before. It's those sorts of moments that will give you the motivation to move forward and to push yourself even more. Or you get what I like to refer to as an accountability buddy, which is what Kevin was talking about, someone who's there with you, who's going to push you and hold you accountable for doing things. But again, if you like to work out alone, maybe that's not something for you. But whatever it is, just a little bit of push, a little bit outside your comfort zone, not too much. Don't overwhelm yourself at first. That's kind of my advice on it all.
Certainly on that first week. That sounds like some good tips. And Kevin, I'm guessing you're somewhat agreeing with yourself, or is there anything that you'd add to that perhaps?
Very similar to the gym aspect. Basically, for me, I'll make sure that I try to go to the gym. If it happens to be 15 minutes, do a little bit of cardio, 15 minutes and a couple of minutes of strength training, kind of start breaking some intervals in there. The one thing is, try to set a goal. If you say, look, I don't have time, look at your schedule, set aside some time. Say at 9:15, I'm going to get up and walk. Some folks are busy. I'm busy at work all the time. I would sit down and put something in my calendar in Outlook. 15 minutes. Set that time. Make that time happen for yourself. Make that time happen for anyone else that tries to put something in your time slot. Say, look, I got to do something. Go outside. Get away. Shut your phone off. Go out and walk for a few minutes. Put it on silent. Do that. You will appreciate it at the end of the day. Here's the one thing I would say to folks that who want to try to exercise right before the con. Don't wait a week beforehand and then go all out and expecting to lose like 15 pounds before the con. I see that happen sometimes. You see it when you go to the gym, like right around Christmas, right around January. You see a whole bunch of people in the gym, and all of a sudden, a month later, you won't see the same people in there again. Try to balance it out. You know, this is an early conversation point. We're in January. You can go to the gym now. Start a little bit. You don't have to go on a treadmill. You can use elliptical machines. You can walk around in the gym, do some sit-ups, do crunches. There are machines that can assist you. Stairmaster. You know, you're not going to be able to jump on it and do 10 minutes right away. Take some time, build it up a little bit. Don't wait until the month before the con. Sometimes you might want to do it 2 months before the con. You want to do it 3 months before the con. Set a goal. You'll say, look, I'll go into the gym 2 times, 3 times a week. Then as you start getting better and you start feeling your own strength and feeling your own cadence, then you might go up to 4 days a week. You might go up to 5 days a week. Last year, I was lucky. I was able to go to the gym 5 days a week before the con. And I was in great shape. I was in real good shape. And therefore, the other thing, too, at the end of the con, my recuperation time actually was a lot less after the con. I actually think it took me maybe 2 days afterwards. The first con I went to back in 2012, it took me a good week or 2. I really, really felt it. But I lost a lot of weight. I lost around 10 pounds, I think, on my first con. And I made sure I replenished really well. Trips to Five Guys. And speaking about ribs, you know, moderation is also a good thing, too. Moderation is good. You can treat yourself. Set aside 1 day. You'll say, look, I have a cheat day. You have a little bit of something you like a lot. If you want to have a burger once a week, say, okay, look, I'll have it on Saturday. That's my goal. That's my prize day. So when you pretty much look at your accomplishment for the week, have that burger. Don't go crazy. Don't order like 5 burgers. Just have like the 1 burger, or even portion control. Some people I know that cut their food in half. They'll say, okay, look, I'll get a burger, cut it in half. Enjoy that first half. Second half, you know, they might decide, okay, I'll save that for, you know, for leftovers, something like that during the week. That's another way of trying to portion control on yourself.
This is a whole this is whole new use of the term 50-50 burger, which I wasn't aware of. So, okay.
With the Weight Watchers, they give you a point system. And the advantage of the point system is that you have 30 points to spend during the day, and a hard-boiled egg is 2, and a coffee, half a cup of milk is 3 or 4 points, that kind of thing. But you've also got this thing. You've got 30 points sitting in the background for your weekly splurge points. So you can go out when you're, to have a nice dinner with your spouse or your buddies, or you can have the beers, you can have the burgers, those types of things. And when you get into the diets that are extremely restrictive, is when you get the most pushback from people. And it goes back to what everybody's been saying, is that when you get that pushback and you get that I can't do this feeling, then it's not a long-term lifestyle change for you, and that's the problem. It's also kind of, it goes back, I quit smoking cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes for 15 years, and I stopped smoking cigarettes with the idea that I'm not going to have one today. I may have one tomorrow, but I'm not going to have one today. And if you go in it with that attitude, then, I may not do my workout tomorrow, but I'm going to do it today. Or, I'm going to have all of these veggies on my plate, and I'm not going to have the hamburger today, but I'll have one later on. Those are the kinds of, when you start getting to that point, then it becomes a lifestyle change, and that I'm going to keep this weight off next year. There's no way I'm going to go back to having the extra 40 pounds on my body. I won't do it. I feel too good now. So I think that's the thing.
Yeah, I think with diets, folks get scared about, okay, I used to eat 3 eggs and toast in the morning, and now you're asking me to drink a shake. Sometimes you have to say, and I'm a person that basically cuts down a lot, and it comes down to really, I would say, controlling my intake. So I'll have a shake in the morning, sometimes a shake for lunch or something like to eat, and then I'll have a sensible dinner. It's kind of almost like Slim Fast, but not Slim. Slim Fast and Weight Watchers. But basically, when your body is a muscle, your stomach is a muscle. So what you do is basically start kind of reducing your food intake, and all of a sudden you realize that, oh, I don't really need to eat all that much food, and I don't feel that hungry. If you step yourself down a little bit, you won't notice that what you're missing.
So instead of 3 fried eggs, you have a soft-boiled egg on toast.
Or egg beaters.
Or egg beaters. You know, I mean, if you want to go to the extreme, I couldn't go that way. I got to have real food.
You look like you were about to say something, Jeff.
Well, I'm just looking at your face and seeing how uncomfortable you are with all this discussion
I'm fine
about
with
breakfast adjustments.
I am fine with all of this. That's the reason why I'm attentive. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm attentive.
All right, I was just making sure. Because your comfort is what we're here for, man.
Fair enough.
I think what Alyssa's saying, no, actually, in really is have a system in place. You know, we're nerds. We're smart people. We're so smart that we talk ourselves out of stuff and rationalize stuff a lot. But if we take the time, we can build really good systems that work for us. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Weight Watchers, but I know it works for a lot of people. So great. I'm happy that there's a system that works for those people. That system doesn't work for me. And, you know, the system that works for me might not work for another person, whatever. But putting a system in place that holds you accountable is important. So whether it's, let's say you want to, since con season, and we're talking about walking a lot. So let's say you make your goal leading up to con season, I don't know, I'm going to run a 5K. Run or walk or jog a 5K 2 months before con. Okay, that's a reasonable goal. You know, there's a million like fun run 5Ks everywhere that you could do with your friends. There's no pressure, you know, whatever. It's a good goal to kind of see where you are. So how do you get there? You know, and there's systems in place to get you there, you know. But if you want to build one for yourself, start eliminating bad habits during the day. Start building positive habits during the day that you know will affect you and your ability to go run every day, every other day, and prepare for that. Write yourself notes. Leave your running shoes by the door. Little things like build little systems that will remind you of your goals. Whether it's like Alyssa said, I am going to do this today. I'm not focused on tomorrow. I can only focus on the present. I think is a great one. You know, that works. Writing yourself notes, leaving yourself calendar invites, like, you know, we talked about. You know, that's a great one. Marking stuff down so you have a, you know, an extra alarm on your phone that reminds you to do something when you need to do it. Set that alarm 20 minutes earlier than you usually do and start walking in the morning, because you know by the end of the day you're tired and you're beat and you come home and, oh, that couch looks so comfortable, and, oh, look, there's a new show on Netflix I need to binge watch, and all these other things. You know, then if that's you have to put a system in place that's smarter than you are when it comes to the rationalizing.
Yes.
And it takes time, and it takes some thought process. But, you know, if you put the work in, I guarantee you anyone listening to this can do it. We have enough time between now and the convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
that's a great.
I was going to throw out there. I sometimes would bring an extra pair of shoes, leave it in my office at my desk. Then you can go outside and walk in a comfortable pair of shoes. Instead of you having your work shoes, you can have your workout shoes with you. And also, if you happen to have a couple of coworkers, say, hey, let's go out for a quick walk. This helps. You have a couple of people with you. You go for a nice brisk walk during the day. You feel fantastic. And you're able to, you know, you kind of also help energize yourself when you get back to your desk. Instead of being there all day long, you feel lethargic because you're not moving. You'll notice in the second half of the afternoon, your energy levels might actually pick up a bit sometimes afterwards, actually.
Okay. I mean, we're talking there about introducing a system and also using technology, being very tech-savvy people, us nerds. Certainly, there are things that we can use to help us get into that system and into that regime. You're talking there about setting alarms for yourself on your phone. I think that's certainly kind of the minimum of what you can do with the technology around with you. Is there any other technological tips that you can think of that perhaps that you use or that you can suggest to people watching?
Sure. I think from my perspective, one thing that I've seen growing in popularity are Fitbits. and people that are, using those as a way to challenge their friends. I see it all the time on Facebook and Twitter, the smack talk that starts between friends who have their Fitbits on. They're like, ha, you're slacking, I'm doing, I've already hit my 10,000 steps for the day. What are you doing? And it's that friendly rivalry that, fuels that fire of, yeah, well, guess what? I'm going to get out there and walk too. I think Fitbits are great. Another one of my favorite apps, and I say favorite, again, I don't run, but all my running friends swear by this app, and it's called Run Zombies. And it's actually, sorry, Zombies Run is the actual app. It's a game that you have on your phone, your iOS or your Android device, that randomly creates goals with a zombie apocalypse in mind on your little running trail. So it will interface with your GPS, and it'll put like supply stockpiles over here, or randomly it will tell you that zombies are now chasing you and you need to pick up your pace, and it turns your run into a little fun zombie survival game. Little stuff like that, whatever it is to distract you from the fact that you maybe don't like the exercise you're doing, which I would hazard to say then find a different exercise, but that's a different conversation. But I think Zombies Run is a good one. I don't know, Kevin, do you have any that you can think of?
No, not really. I pretty much, for me, it's just about motivation. So it's about music. Yeah. I download podcasts of DJs, and pretty much that keeps me going. Especially when you're in the gym, sometimes you listen to music that the gym speaker system has out there, and it's more about angry people yelling than as opposed to getting your heartbeat racing or something that keeps you motivated on those machines for a good half hour to an hour like I'm on it. So basically I download podcasts or DJ sets. It kind of keeps me going. I don't download any apps that keep track of my, I would say, fitness, but I'm thinking about leaning towards a Fitbit, but I don't really need it. But I might use it just to keep track of what happens at this year's con.
I like it simply because it keeps track of where I was and where I'm going. It's more of a tracking mechanism than it is, a challenging amongst my friends, because I absolutely hate that. That would not work for me at all. So it's, but it goes back to everybody has their own style and knows what works for them, and to design a system that works. I like the Fitbit because it interfaces with the Weight Watchers, so I get extra points if I do a lot of exercise. Plus, I get to see, a month ago I was only doing a mile, and this month I'm doing a mile and a half.
Yeah.
Per workout. So.
I mean, I know that on the iPhone, which I've had for some time, and I do keep going back to it, is the 7-minute workout app, which I use on occasion. But the one thing that I'm doing more regularly at the moment, and certainly since the new year, is something that I treated myself as a kind of like post-Christmas present. I bought myself the new Apple TV. With all the new apps that come up on there, and they've actually got a couple of workout apps that are actually channels on the Apple TV. So I watch Netflix, and I do my sort of my making a murderer, and I watch whatever I need to watch, and then dial over to the workout app, and there's a couple of good ones on there. I'm certain that there's a bunch of apps out there, and I'm certain that there's some recommendations from people that are watching. If you are, do let us know on Cup of Tea SDCC, and we'll retweet them to people, and we'll also put them in the comments down below. So yeah, just little technical things and bits and pieces. I'm certain that we can all kind of add to help us get us on the way. Thank you very much indeed to all of the guests. Has we got any last-minute thoughts that we've got? Is there anything, Alyssa, that you want to just kind of cap the conversation off with?
Just do it. I know it's,
Go for the Nike. Just go for the Nike trademark. That's fantastic.
Well, just do something today. That's all.
Just do it. Swish. Okay, excellent stuff. Thank you very much indeed. We were going to talk about some other bits and pieces which we did mention in the description, and also when I tweet out a little bit earlier. We'll talk about these next week, because I do want to talk about Star Wars in terms of what we may be expecting at San Diego in July, considering that We've got Star Wars Celebration, which is happening in London the week before San Diego Comic-Con. So what can we expect Lucasfilm and Disney to be bringing to San Diego? That's what we're going to be talking about next week. We're also, I know we've had one or two people on the Twitter asking what about the corners of the con that I kind of mentioned. That's something we're going to talk about next week as well, in terms of little places, your own personal oasis for outside of the main headlines of a convention. Where are your little nirvanas of cons? We're going to talk about that next Sunday as well. Right, thank you very much indeed to Alyssa for joining us. What can people expect from you in the next 7 days, and where can people find you?
Hopefully more modifications on the website. I've got a few more things that I want to implement. I've got to kind of pace myself so I don't break things. Because I'll have to run yelling to my tech guy and say, help! Upload my site! Oh no!
Have we got any word on the, I know that you're wanting to add more content to the site in terms of kind of like a blog. Have you got any anything that's happening on that? And also, if anyone wants to write for that particular, where can people go to?
I'm notoriously bad about the front page, maintaining the front page. I had really hoped that I would have an editor-in-chief, but he kind of bailed on me. So I'm, yeah.
Okay, if you want to be
can we just move right along?
Yes,
Plead the fifth.
If you want to be an editor-in-chief of a blog, if you want to get in contact with Alyssa, where can people find you, Alyssa?
friendsofcci.com, friendsofcc.com/forum. Yes, reverting.
You're still using the old URL, so do I.
Yep.
Excellent.
Move along.
Thank you very much indeed, Alyssa. Thank you very much indeed to Kevin for joining us. Obviously, people can find you on the forum as well. But where else do you exist online?
At KevinDW42 is my Twitter handle. Pretty much anything related to, I would say this week has been TCAs, which is Television Critics Association, upfront presentations. So a lot of stuff's been dropping. A new 24 reboot. Jessica Jones was renewed season 2. So here we go. We got I got my daughter knocking on the door. She just came back from ice skating lessons. We got a couple things going on this week. I'll just be brief and quick. We got Legends of Tomorrow starting this week. The 100 is starting this week as well. We got the Dawn of Justice League special coming up. So I think that's going to have some little snippets or whatever it is for Batman vs. Superman. So pay attention to that. 2 hours of Agent Carter. Yes. Flash is back. Supergirl. So I watch a lot of TV. Blacklist is, of course, getting better and better. And then I have to wait for geez, I'm forgetting one more. Jamie Alexander's show.
Blindside.
So we got a lot of stuff going on this week.
Sure. I'm actually hoping as well with the Justice League thing that we're actually, because we seem to have been getting an awful lot about Batman versus Superman starting very, very early. I'm hoping that perhaps we'll actually see something regarding the Justice League in terms of the people we haven't seen yet. Cyborg, Aquaman, come on! Let's have some doing the rounds. So thank you very much indeed for that. Another thing about the what Kevin was mentioning there is something that is happening or was happening about now, which is the Netflix presentation. A lot of people have been getting in contact with me about comments that we made last week. I am doing my damnedest to find out more about the situation between CCI and Netflix. I've got a couple of people and a couple of email addresses which I have only got in the last couple of days, so hopefully Monday morning I'll get a couple of emails off and maybe we'll have some kind of answers for you within the next couple of weeks. Fingers crossed. And thanks once again to Jeff for joining us. Yes. Where can people find you online? You've mentioned it already. Give it another plug.
Well, real quick, thanks for having me. I always love putting your smooth, sexy accent right in my ear. Like, it makes me happy. I love it so much. So people can find me on Twitter at the Mighty Jerd. That's Jerd. And thejerd.com. The most recent article up there, so of course we put articles out all the time. The most recent article up there is 7 things you're probably doing wrong with the New Year's resolutions and how to fix them. We're about 2 weeks in, And the article really is about what we were talking about earlier: how to put in place achievable systems that will help you succeed, not these random, arbitrary New Year's resolutions that are just going to crash and burn around you. So definitely check that out. I appreciate it, and yeah, it was great talking to you guys.
Brilliant.
Excellent.
Thank you very much indeed, Jeff. Once again, to everybody who did jump in on the Q&A, I know we didn't really cover a great deal in terms of the comments that did come in. I do apologize, but we did have a lot to talk about. Michael P. turned around and said push-ups and the plank are good for home exercises. No equipment required. Just get on the floor and crack on with that. Aaron Neighbours is saying, Alyssa, in terms of your conversation for ribs, where do you go? I'm craving now. So I don't know if we've kind of helped there. So I think we might have sent out wrong mixed messages. Who knows?
After a week of walking, you can go out for ribs. How about that?
Fair enough.
And
And
that's the way to do it.
and also he's saying that he guesses he has to stop eating Mrs. Field's cookies for breakfast at the convention centre. That apparently is now going to be off the cards. My thing that I'm really glad that I've stopped doing over the last couple of years is eating any of the food inside of Hall H, because that stuff,
it's horrible.
Vile stuff. And one day I will get somebody from the convention centre on the Hangout, and I'm going to have to really let them know. But there we go. Thanks to my guests. My name's been Leonard Sultana. You can find me at Twitter, Englishman SDCC, and you can also find me on the website anenglishmaninsandiego.com. If at any point you want to talk about or want us to talk about something on the Hangout, do let us know using the hashtag CupOTSDCC. Let us know if there's any topics that you want us to cover over the coming months, and as we get closer and closer to San Diego Comic-Con, we will be talking about all the announcements coming out of CCI. We guarantee very soon indeed we will be getting early bird hotel news. We'll be getting the open online registration. That's going to be happening. Do keep your eyes open. We will discuss them here on the Hangout each and every Sunday, and we will be back next week. From all of my guests and for myself, do take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.